lens with some really interesting data and analysis that will help us determine what the print run is for the base cards on Garbage Pail Kid Sapphire. For many months now, we've thought it's 3,000 per card. Turns out we believe that is not the case. In fact, our theory is that there are 34 base cards that are in fact double prints, and they have a print run of 5,000. 132 are single prints with a print run of 2,500. We believe the set was printed in 2 sheets of 100 cards each, that 15,926 boxes were sold by Topps, not the believed 16,600. And intriguingly, the 22 missing teals that have not yet appeared, we believe were never added to the boxes for retail sale. They remain at Topps and could be in packs to be redeemed for missing hits in the future. That one's a bit of a speculation, but as you'll see in this coming video, a lot of what you see on the screen here is based on data and math and analysis, and we really look forward to your feedback in this video to let us know if we're on the right track. So first, let's go over the classic theory of print run on this set. So Topps actually never announced the print run. I think they rarely do announce print runs for Sapphire, from what I understand, but they did leave a few hints, right? On the website where the box was sold for retail, they said that there were 32 cards per box. They said what all the different parallel levels would be and how many of each of those parallels there are per character. They also released a checklist, so they shared that there's going to be 166 cards in the set, which matches the OS1 and OS2 characters in Garbage Pail Kids. On the box itself, they gave this big hint in bold letters. There are 2 parallels inside of every box. And finally, on the back of the box, they listed the odds per box of finding a given parallel level. So orange, you could find 1 in every 4 boxes, a gold 1 in every 7 boxes, and so on, up through Pod Parasha, the 1 of 1, which they said you could find 1 in every 96 boxes. That's going to be an important number that we're going to return to later. Remember that. 1 in every 96 boxes. So a lot of armchair detectives then went to work and tried to figure out, okay, what is the total number of boxes that they're going to release? What is the total number of cards in this set? And it was pretty straightforward, right? So for example, if you take the red sapphires, you knew that there was going to be 1 in every 20 boxes. You knew that there were going to be 5 of them for each of the 166 characters, so there's a total of 830 red parallel cards. And simply if you multiply 20 by 830, you came up with 16,600 boxes. You do the math for purple, same thing. You do the math for orange, same thing. You do the math for gold, you get something a little bit different. It actually works out to 1.1 in 6.66 repeating boxes. My theory at the time was, hey, Topps just said, let's call it 1 in 7 boxes to put a nice even number on the box. And then with Pod Parasha, you got something different as well. You came out with 15,936 boxes, which many people, including myself, simply said, well, let's just take the most common number of all 5 of these. Let's say there's 16,600 boxes and continue. So that's how we figured out the total number of bases, right? If you take 16,600 boxes, you knew in every box there's 32 cards. You knew there's 2 parallels in every box, so 30 base, and simply 30 times 16,600 equals 497,170. That was the total number of base believed to be printed for this set. Divide that by 166, you end up with 2,995. So there is where the 3,000 number came from. You know, Jeff on GPK News released this analysis in December. A number of people came to this analysis separately. You see it on forums like Blowout Cards. And so that number stuck. You know, the 3,000 number has stuck ever since December, ever since this set came out. But then something really interesting has happened over the past few months. And I want to give a big shout out to Ben from the community, who's kind of led the charge on tracking the cards that have been pulled in breaks, right? There's a lot of breaks that happen live on Facebook Live or on YouTube. And as you'll see in a moment, what they do is while the breaker is opening the packs, they're simply recording every single card that's coming out of the pack. They're typing it in into this massive spreadsheet, card by card, and they've ended up with these tallies of the cards that have been pulled in the break. So taking a look at what we see here, there have been, let's go to this tab right here. There have been a total of 2,215 boxes that have been tracked, 70,880 individual cards have been tracked card by card. That includes the base, that includes the parallels, right? And when I took a look at this, one thing jumped out to me right away. Let's take a look at the parallels, okay? Let's take a look at teal. Evil Eddie, 13 teal Evil Eddies have been picked. GPK, 10 GPKs. Geeky Gary, 12, etc. Down the line, you'll see really every character has been picked an average of 12 times with very small variation. But look at this. Some characters have been found 0 times. In fact, there are 22 teals that have been found 0 times, while the other 144 have been found an average of 12 times. If you want more on this, GPK Boys has done this amazing video on this topic. Probably everyone's seen this video already. If you haven't, definitely subscribe to GPK Boys and watch that video. But if you think about it, that just doesn't make any sense. 144 different cards pulled an average of 12 times and 22 pulled an average of 0 times. Netting it out, this is what you see when you look at the parallels that have been pulled. Again, across 2,215 boxes. For all parallels, you'd have expected 4,430 parallels to be pulled, right? Because there's 2 in every box. There's actually 4,425. How close is that? Only a difference of 5, right? So Topps is really doing a great job. Yes, there are some 0-hit boxes. There are some 1-hit boxes. On the flip side, there are actually some 3- and 4-hit boxes and plenty of 2-hit boxes. But on average, it is 2 parallels per box. Work your way down, right? Pads, yes, there's been 7 more, but again, this is a small sample size. Reds, almost exactly what you'd expect. Same with purples. You see a bit of difference with gold. More with orange. Let's return to that at the end of the video. A slight difference in expected from green. And then teal is where it gets funny. You have actually this 10% difference. And again, 22 cards not found. And the other 144 found an average of 12 times. Well, let's talk about that for a moment. I've actually been tracking the sale of every parallel on eBay from the very beginning. And if you go down this list, you see that the exact same 22 cards have never been sold on eBay, right? They've never been found in the breaks. They've never been sold on eBay. Ben and I pinged a lot of people we know. No one has seen these 22 parallels. It absolutely is this enduring mystery. And this is our hypothesis about what's going on here, okay? We know that this many teals were printed. We know, let's assume they printed 99 teals for each of the 166 cards for a total of 16,434. Let's also assume that they only put 144 of those characters in the boxes. So a total of 14,256 teals were put into the boxes. Add that to all the other parallels that we believe were put in the boxes, right? We think that every character for every other level was very likely put into the boxes. So if you add that together, you end up with 31,852 parallels that were put into boxes. We know that there are 2 per box, so simple math reveals that there are 15,926 boxes produced. Now, this is a hypothesis, but let's play this out for a moment. Here's where it gets interesting. If you take 15,926 boxes and you divide by the 166 pad parashas that were put into the boxes, you get 1 in every 95.93 9 boxes. Does that sound familiar? It should. Remember, the odds printed on the box were 1 in 96. This is reinforcement of the hypothesis that exactly 15,926 boxes were produced with one pod per Asha in every 95.939 boxes. Isn't that cool? Now, let's put that aside for a moment and come back to the tracker. The other thing that jumps out at you is the base. Nasty Nick pulled 671 times. Stormy Heather, 312. Graffiti Petey, 671. But look how almost every card falls in either that 600 block or that 300 block. And Ben and team have compiled it here. You see the first batch of cards pulled, roughly 600 times, and then a sudden gap between Potty Scotty and Cyclops, where the others are pulled roughly 300 times. Let's actually graph that data out. I mean, for me, the conclusion is unmistakable when you graph this out. You see this first group right here in the 600s, and the second group here in the 300s with a huge gap. In fact, the average is exactly 2x. The first group, the average is 656. The second group averages 328. For me, the inescapable conclusion is there are single prints and there are double prints in the set. I think we can say that definitively now. Specifically, there are 34 cards that are double prints. These are 17 AB pairs. So Atom Bomb is actually one of them. Nasty Nick is one of them. And then a lot of the others that you probably have seen are so easy to acquire that just seem to appear again and again and again. 47A, 45, 49, 14. I think 18 is in there. We'll take a look at it in a moment. But some of those very common cards, 19, are in this double print set. For single prints, that leaves 132 that are single prints. And we believe that those were broken up into two batches, so 64 A's and 64 B's. Now again, this is a hypothesis, but let's play it out. Topps had to figure out how to print these double prints and these single prints. And from what I understand from Ben and others, they've always printed Garbage Pail Kids in large sheets, I think 10 by 11, 11 by 10, things like that. So let's assume that this is another large sheet with 100 cards in the sheet. From there, it's just very easy math. In sheet A, you're going to have all 34 double prints. Those are A and B characters. And then 64 A characters for the single prints. Sheet B, same thing. 34 double prints, and then the 64 B characters. I'm sorry, that's a typo right there. That should be 66. And that adds up to 100 right there. Let's assume as well that Topps picked a nice round number of the number of sheets to print. Let's say they printed 2,500 of each sheet. That would leave 2,500 of each SP card that was printed, and then 5,000 of each DP card, a double print, because they were both on sheet A and sheet B. So let's put this information all together and talk about what this means in total. I think we've definitively proven there are 34 double print base cards. There are 132 single print base cards. We believe only 14,256 teals were put into the boxes and 22 were not. And that nets out to 15,936 boxes, which again reinforces the printed odds for Pod Parasha, which are 1 in 96 boxes. We're theorizing today that each sheet was printed 2,500 times, so that leaves 2,500 of each SP base, 5,000 of each DP base, calculated up, right, 2,500 times, 132 equals 330K, 5,000 times 34 cards equals 170K, 500,000 total bases were printed. So add the 500,000 total bases to the 31,852, and you end up with 531,852 total cards, that were put in boxes. Now, what this does is it leaves some leftover cards, okay? So I'm sorry, this is the total number of cards that were printed all told. We know that this many were put into boxes, right? So it's 15,936 times 30 base per box equals that. We know that this many parallels were put into box, and that actually leaves 2,178 teals that were left over. So there's leftover teals and there's leftover bases, right? So if we take out a calculator, let's add this up. 21,920 leftover bases plus 2,178 leftover teals. It's that many total cards. And let's just divide this by 32 cards that would be in a box. What you're left with is roughly 753 boxes worth of cards that are not in the boxes, right? They're somewhere. My hypothesis, again, this is a complete guess, is those 753 boxes worth of cards are still back at Tops. We've heard anecdotally that a lot of people have been sending in missing hit forms, and it's been many months since anyone has received a missing hit form. So what could be happening here is they have these missing teals, they have these leftover bases sitting in the Tops offices. They're waiting for most of the boxes to be open so they get a good sense of how many missing hit forms they're going to receive, and then they can fairly and equitably distribute the remaining cards into the market that way. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe there's just a backup. Maybe they have trouble getting it out. I don't know, but this is a plausible explanation, particularly to where those 22 missing teals are right now. So what do you guys think? Please leave comments down below. I'm sure we missed something, but I think we're onto something pretty important here. If we really do hone in on this print count, if we hone in on the print run, we hone in on where the leftover teals are, we can release some infographics into the market and kind of gussy this up a little bit so it looks a little fancier, and some other data products that help you assess, okay, which one's an SP, which one's a DP. You can have that kind of at your fingertips. Hope this video was helpful. We got a lot more videos coming. I know it's been a break. Thanks for bearing with me. I know there's a lot of numbers there, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. All right, leave a comment below, guys. Thanks. Talk to you later.